Welcome to Shalom and Friends for Story Time. My name is Pastrix, and this is my friend Indy. And this is Indy's bestest lamb friend Stu. One of our favorite things to do together is to read books. After the story, we play a game to see how many Jesus sightings we can find. This helps us practice seeing Jesus in our everyday places. So grab a blanket and your favorite stuffed animal because it's story time. Hello, friends. Indy, Stu, and I are so glad to be able to spend this time with you and to get to share a new book with you. Today's book is called The Brand New Kid by Couric, and it was illustrated by Marjorie Priceman. Now, all of you should probably have started back to school by now. Have any of you met any new kids in your class? Or maybe there's a new kid in another class that just moved here from somewhere far away. Well, this book today is going to teach us about how we should treat our new friends when they come to our school. Ellie McSmelly and Carrie O'Toole were laughing and running their first day of school. It was today, and they wondered just what was in store. Would this be a good year, or would school be a bore? Well, I got to tell you, with names like Ellie McSmelly and Carrie O'Toole, I think they're going to have a fun school year. They kept their fingers crossed they'd be in the same class on a big table that they had to pass. They checked to find out which room they should go to. McSnelly 240. O'Toole, I don't know. Oh, here it is, dear. You're 240 as well. They squealed with delight. Oh, gee, this was swell. 240 meant they would both have Mrs. Kincaid, the best teacher by far in the whole second grade. Well, their school year's off to a pretty good start, isn't it, Indy? They took their seats quickly. Miss Kincaid called the roll. Emily Allen, here. Tyler Antole, here. Peter Barnitsky, here. Raquel Brooks, here too. She went down the list until she was all through. Then she got to the boy who was not in her book. We have a new student. They all turned to look. His name is a different one, Laszlo S. Gasky, and he's new to our school in the town of Delaski. Here you go. You see the teacher and all of the students. Please welcome him here. Won't you all please say hi? But the students just turned and stared at the new guy. His hair was so blonde, why, it almost looked white. It stuck out all over. It didn't look right. His lips were bright pink. His eyes were very blue. He looked at his feet and he fidgeted too. He was quiet at first and then yelled out, "Hello!" His voice booming loud that made Ellie say, "Whoa!" The other kids laughed. Gee, this new boy was weird. Too different and strange to fit in, they all feared. Oh, look at the poor new boy. He looks very uncomfortable. Now, class, Miss Kincaid said, her voice shrill and tight. Let's focus on learning and getting things right. She turned from the students. White chalk was her tool as she wrote welcome back to Brookhaven School. Oh, look at those naughty students. Well, look what they're doing to the new kid. They sharpened their pencils and picked up their books. All morning long, they kept shooting him looks. They headed to gym class, a quick softball game. When they went to pick teams, no one mentioned his name. So I guess he didn't get to play the game. At lunch, Ricky Jensen, who thought he was cool, made everyone laugh when he shouted, "Hey, fool!" As Laszlo was leaving the line with his tray, someone tripped him. His food, it went every which way. The students all froze as they saw Laszlo's face, with French fries and ketchup all over the place. Poor Laszlo. Those students are not being very nice. I hope he finds a friend soon. So these first few weeks were lonely for this brand new kid. They made fun of him and all that he said and did. So he kept his head bowed and stopped trying to please and simply prepared for the next taunt and tease. That makes me so sad. One day after school, Ellie walked out the door and she saw someone she hadn't seen there before. A lady whose face looked so tired and worn. She had tears in her eyes and she seemed so forlorn. "Who is that?" Ellie asked of a student she saw. "Oh, that's Laszlo's mother," said Susie McGraw. "Her son's having trouble. She might pull him out. The school may be wrong for him. She's full of doubt." Ellie watched Mrs. Gasky as she walked towards her car. She thought about how things were going so far, about Laszlo and how he felt different and strange, and wondered aloud, what could she arrange? You see Laszlo's mom's all worried. But I like that Ellie is trying to come up with an idea to make things better. "I've got it," she said. "I'll ask him to play at my house or his house. After school ends one day." The next morning, she walked up to him at his locker. "Would you like to come over and maybe play soccer?" Stunned, he said, "Please come to my house and play." So Ellie said, "Sure I can. Let's pick a day." "How about Thursday?" he asked with a smile, a look that hadn't been on his face in a while. Look how happy that invitation from Ellie made him. They walked home from school with their books in their arms, passing meadows and fields and a couple of farms. They arrived at his door, greeted by his French poodle, and Mrs. Gasky was there with a plate of warm strudel. That sounds delicious. As they munched on the pastry, they made quite a mess. And Laszlo said, "Do you know how to play chess?" Ellie said, "Yes, but I'm not all that great." "That's okay," he replied. And soon he said, "Checkmate." The afternoon ended. Ellie said, "This was fun." Laszlo just smiled and said, "Hey, thanks a ton for coming to my house and being my friend at a school in a town where I just don't fit in." At school the next day, the kid stopped her and said, "You were walking with Laszlo. Are you sick in your head?" Ellie paused and replied, "Now I know him, you see. Laszlo isn't as different from you and from me. He's terrific at chess and his mom's really sweet. Playing soccer, the guy doesn't have 2 left feet. He may look slightly strange, have an accent and stuff, but if you knew him, you'd like him. It wouldn't be tough." Carrie looked at her friend and she thought for a while. And when Laszlo walked up, she gave him a big smile. Hey, Ellie. Hey, Laszlo. Do you want to go play? And they all walked outside on a beautiful day. The end. Well, I thought that was a wonderful story, and I can't wait to hear what Indy and Stu learned from it. Until then, see you next time.
Hi, everybody. Stu and I learned a lot from the book that Pastrix Carmen read us about Laszlo. Did you have any new kids in your class this week? Well, if you were listening, Laszlo was the new kid in class, and he had a really hard time because he looked a little different and he was a little awkward, and people made fun of him, which made Stu and I very sad. They even played tricks on him, and that was really mean. It kind of reminds me of the story of Rudolph in a way, but it's not Christmas yet. Laszlo finally made a friend, and when he made a friend with Ellie, his whole life changed. Ellie took a chance. Ellie didn't care what any of the other students thought or any of her friends. She just saw how sad Laszlo was and how much he needed a friend. Is there anyone at your school that could use a new friend? When people at school saw Laszlo and Ellie talking, at first they started to give Ellie a hard time. But Ellie stood up for herself and for Laszlo, and everyone learned an important lesson, and a lesson about inclusion. Inclusion means that we should include everybody, that we should make everyone feel welcome and loved and accepted wherever we are. That's a super lesson, and that's something that Jesus would say too. Will you pray with me?
Thank you for today's story. It's fun finding out new things about our world. Help us remember what we learned today. We look forward to tomorrow and all the wonderful things you will show us. Amen.
If you like story time or you like Shalom and Friends, please like, comment, and share our videos with your friends.
And don't forget to check out our new episodes Monday at 5.
If you'd like to support the ministry of Shalom and Friends, you can make a secure donation through our website or through the app at Roberts Park United Methodist Church.
See you later, alligator!